Isn't that beautiful? Well, today's video is different than my other videos that I've shared in the past of basically me just sailing around the Chesapeake Bay. I'm new to sailing keel boats, larger sailboats like this, and learning a lot, especially about maintenance. And I'm not very mechanical, I'm not very electrically oriented, so all the maintenance stuff has been a bit of a struggle for me. And I wanted to share an experience I had recently this summer when Hurricane Isaiah, whatever it was, came through. And we did not have too much trouble here, but we did have some wind, and my boat got blown around a little bit in the slip. No damage really to the boat or anything, but it was connected to shore power. That may have been a mistake, I don't know. But I kept it connected to shore power, and when I came back to the boat, the air conditioner was running just fine, and I decided that I needed to clean the raw water strainer for the air conditioner. And in fact, I really needed to clean it pretty badly. So I cleaned it. I turned off the circuit breakers up here, cleaned the raw water strainer and put it back on. But I didn't prime it like I should have. I've only done it a couple of times since I've had the boat. I've only needed to do it a couple of times since I've had the boat, and I didn't prime it like I should have. So I don't know to this day if that was a problem or not. In the past, if I hadn't primed it just right, it would throw up an error on the control panel saying low pressure or something like that, and would stop, and not a problem. But this time I noticed that after I hooked everything back up, that the air conditioner would not turn on at the control panel. And that led me to checking the circuit breaker panel. And every time I turned the main panel on and then flipped on the circuit breaker for the air conditioner, the main panel for the air conditioner power, the B panel, that circuit breaker would jump off. So if I turned it off and then turned it back on, the same thing would happen. It would just immediately flip the main circuit breaker panel. It would never turn on at the panel at all, never turn on in any way. It just would not turn on. So at that point, I started trying to figure out what was wrong. And I got on the phone with I got on the phone with the people at Dometic and Marine Air, the customer service people, and I have to say that they were some of the most helpful people that in my 62 years I've ever dealt with as far as customer service goes. Can't say enough about them. Great people. And they helped me walk through the connections and troubleshooting the air conditioning system. And what we found was that it looked like the main board that controls the air conditioner operation was bad and needed to be replaced. And so they sent me one under warranty, I guess, with no freight charge or no problem at all. They sent me a unit and I replaced that. And they helped me walk step by step to do it. It was quite a challenge. I'm going to show you what that looks like to get to. It's under the settee and is quite crowded. It's behind the refrigerator compressor unit and everything, so it's not much room to work with. And we replaced it. And then I got that in, and still wouldn't work. And the raw water pump would not turn on. Exactly the same thing kept happening. And so at this point, at my wit's end, I'm thinking I'm going to have to buy a new raw water pump, and they're pretty expensive. So before I did that, my brother, who's quite capable with air conditioning systems and electricity, unfortunately he's in South Carolina, and the Dometic folks, they both told me, look Chuck, you need to start chasing down your electrical system and make sure that everything's working properly. And I thought, oh well, no problem, it is. But actually I noticed that I was only getting, sometimes I was only getting 60 volts on the B panel, not 120, only 60. And so, oh, that seems like a big problem, because the wiring in this thing is nicely done but hard to get to. And like I said, not only am I not electrical, I'm colorblind. So electrical wiring issues is not something that I wanted to have to deal with. I checked the voltage at the pedestal, it was fine. I checked the voltage at the end of my shore cable, and that was fine. And I switched the two cables. I have an A and a B cable, and I switched the two cables, and both of them had 120 volts, but I switched them, and voila, I had 120 volts. And guess what? My air conditioner started working. My pump and my air conditioning, everything was wonderful, just like I was hoping it would be. And it ran for a couple of days. I came back to the boat and it was off again. And guess what? The same thing happened at the circuit breaker panel. When I turned on the air conditioner breaker, the main panel breaker would jump off, would trip off. So I went back out and I reset my cables again, and everything's working fine. And reconnected the power cables, everything's working fine. And that ran perfectly for a couple of weeks, no problems. And then the next thing you know, it's off again. Same thing's happening. So now I'm at a loss. I'm thinking I must have a short somewhere between here and the connectors on the back of the boat for shore power, the connector. And I started looking at the price for a new connector. That was over $100. That's a lot of money. So when I opened it up, I saw that there were 3 screws inside of that shore power connector on the back of the boat. And I thought, let me just check and make sure those screws are tight. Guess what? They were not tight at all. And they allowed the prongs in the connector to move just the slightest little bit. And I suppose when the boat rocked back and forth, or rocks back and forth, that sometimes it was just enough that the connection wasn't good and the circuit breaker would trip. Thank goodness it did, or it probably would have burned my boat up. So I tightened down those screws, and voila, everything is working fine. It has been working fine now for about 3 or 4 weeks since I made that correction. And I went ahead and checked the A side just to make sure, and they were loose too, although I had not had a problem with the A side. So 3 little screws on the back of the boat, I think, were the primary cause of my problem. I don't know to this day if the main board for the air conditioning unit actually was damaged as a result of that that loose connection back there or not. But at any rate, I'm not taking it back out again because it was pretty tight. And I just wanted to share that with some of you folks who may be new like me to this sport or hobby or pastime, whatever we call it, and not mechanically inclined like me. So it was just an experience that I had. I want to take my hat off to the folks at Dometic. They were wonderful people, and that's it. Thanks for watching.